What else could I do? What could any of us do? Zolf put us in a real bind. Hurt the Bastion bad. But the shards can make it better. They're like smaller doses of the core's medicine. Shame the only place to fill that prescription is out here in the wilds. This place is intoxicating. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good for all I know. Wherever he is, somewhere I've never been. Somewhere I never want to go. Dead welcome him with open arms. Kid pops him good. A survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. What do you say to a kid who's seen too much? Zolf of the Ura. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Now the kid sees something stranger still. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds peckers, luckheads, wallflowers, pincushions, pineapples, swamp weeds, ankle gators. Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid sets foot inside one of Caelondia's famous watering holes. Succeeds where the Calamity failed. Would you look at what he did to poor old Ronde the bartender? Proper story is supposed to start at the beginning. It's so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world's alright, snoozing there on a rock in the sky. He wakes up. I'm just fooling. He sees what's left of the rippling walls. Years of work undone in an instant. He sees what's left of Piff, the bull. The gods, they're all undone. He sees what's left of his lifelong friend. His friend, he's come undone too. He sees what's left undone. Thought we'd lost him, but he finally comes to. The shard ain't lost either, not anymore. Now to find a ticket out of this hole. Disgusting things. Ever heard of a lung blossom? It's bigger than the stories say. The breath on that thing, like a scumbag sprung a leak. brushers dig their nasty thorns into his heels. They say one whiff of lung blossom can make you lose your mind. Well, a kid prunes it down to size somehow. Mother only knows what happened in the bog. Kid never much cared to speak of it. A shard is like a poor man's core, but beggars can't be choosers. That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. The shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. Ain't saying much, but that's the greatest forge in all the city. Squirt cider will toughen you right up. Too bad about the musty aftertaste. The city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. Rothless Lagoon. Even the brushers stopped going there. Didn't like being eaten. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothless Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts what don't know up from down, still lurking about. Only the city's brushers knew their way around the lagoon. These beasts, they don't like company. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? The stinkweed. Can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. Ain't time for pecker hunting, but the kid can't resist. Brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Kid's got a mean throwing arm. Those pincushions been living off the ankle gator scraps. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass and he's Queen Anne's lunch. holds his ground. Seems the Queen's running out of options. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. Those leaping lunkheads don't like Queen Anne any better than the kid. That old gator's right on his tail. Must have scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Seems even stinkweeds know to stay away from the Queen. Say you can't hurt an ankle gator unless it's raining, and it ain't raining. Ankle gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? You use a kid as bait. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. The shards sitting in plain view. us. Kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. That gator's a crazy gal, but so is the gal who promised to look after her. All that trouble for a single shard, but you know what? It was worth it. The arsenal's complete, in case we need protection. Want to keep the wilds at bay? Pack yourself a musket and a pike. To fix a brusher's pike, you just need a good length of knife bark. The next shard should be farther out there in the wilds. Over there is Camp Dauncey, where the brushers steeled themselves for secret missions. To prepare for the wilds, Caelondia's brushers practice at Camp Dauncey. Had to navigate a maze of pincushions with nothing but a pike. It's a dangerous test for a dangerous job. Health tonics were off limits at Camp Dauncey. They said they made you weak. Sometimes the course was brutal. The rules said he couldn't use any fancy footwork, just your brains and your pipe. The Brushers were Caelondia's field agents, and their training was harsh. You had to find a path through the maze as quick as you could. One well-placed throw could take out several of those ugly critters. Once you started the course, they made you finish. Just getting through the course in one piece was an accomplishment. Prep for the course, the Brushers could modify their pikes however they wanted. There wasn't time to squash every pincushion, just the ones in the way. You can see why the brushers prize those pikes of theirs. Don't want that thing leaving your hands until you decide it's time. Point Lemaine's Grand Rail once brought the riches of the wild right to our doorstep. Know how Caelondia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. But now, the greatest outpost past the city line is nothing but a freak show. The Army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. Kid might as well pick up where they left off. Blam! Just like my fighting days. Gun like that can even put the wilds in check. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Whole place shudders in a fit. The Grand Rail of Point Lemaine, not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices, but it can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. Rails all grown over with things that Calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. Lunkhead settled in like they owned the place. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, what with wallflowers coughing fungus everywhere. Only one way to cure a cough like that. closed off, but now it's split open like a rotten pineapple. Of course, the Grand Rails seen much more fighting in bygone times. Near on 50 years ago, first shots fired in the Caelondian War. It was right here that Zolf's forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid took the shard. It's still got one good run in store for it. All the rotten wood there on the rails turned it into swamp weed central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? While choking on swamp weed. While peggers trying to look you in the eye. Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. Caelondia lost many good men on the rail. Then at last, it's the end of the line. He'll be picking swamp weed out of those boots for days. Turns out he's got company over the rail station, waiting for him. Not just another wallflower pincushion like you. At first he thinks it's Zolf. Turns out he's wrong. This is for you, says the man. Then wham! When the kid comes to, the man's long gone, but something else is there. The only words kid recognizes on that parchment are for Zia. Well, what's a kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it? Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. The note says it plain. Zia, Go east to learn the truth about the Calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zulf. Zulf's messenger was one of his people. Wondered just how many of them survived, and what exactly Zulf told him. It ain't too late to unlock the potential of this place. Just the occasion to crack open the distillery's private reserve. Fetching fizz is like a mouthful of nails, but the benefits are worth it. The shards are getting harder to find. No risk of Culford Cauldron ever erupting again, they used to say. Guess they were wrong. Not everything blew up in the Calamity. Why, Culford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. So in a way, the beasts of the wilds, they're all survivors too. Best to keep out of the cauldron. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Culford Cauldron. That learning led to some interesting inventions. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. Playing with the cauldron's fires became an addiction. dusted off a good many secrets out here. But we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. The taste of air so hot it sticks to your lungs. All sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. You can cook those things, but you can't eat them. Never thought we'd find so much life in all that ash. The more ash we swept aside, the more life we found. Kept on sifting through the cauldron's secrets anyway. The unforgiving scent of sulfur's dirt. Place as inhospitable as they come. Still, we pressed on. After all, when we look down inside Culford Cauldron, look down through all the smoke and flames, saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the Calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Charleston Bog. Kid's thinking he's got to trek all the way back around the cauldron. Luckily, the cauldron cooked up a little shortcut for him. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Well, it ain't polite to stare. But where there's one stink eye, there's always more. Cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. The kid don't shed any tears for him, though. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city. But all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. It comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. They said the wild could never be tamed. If only they could see us now. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. Spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zan. Not much left of Mount Zan nowadays. It's like a cross between a zoo and a prison break. Can't rightly call Mount Zan a mountain anymore. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. We only found their little lair because they found themselves a little shard. Those beasts been hoarding all the valuables they could find. The creatures of the wild, they've been building a bastion of their own. Without a doubt, the situation stinks. Best thing we can do for those beasts right now is put them down quick and clean. city left behind, those beasts took for themselves. Takes a lot of convincing, and our mortars have to do the talking. Look at it this way, it's either them or us. But if we win, they win too. Our Bastion is everybody's gain, not just ours. Unfortunately, there's no explaining that to a simple beast. Those beasts have been hard at work fixing up the place. They've rounded up their survivors, just like we have. They've been searching for cores and shards, just like we have. Maybe they've thought about turning back, just like we have. We just really need their shard. Kid got it fair and square. You don't need to keep tangling with all those things. He's done what's best for him, don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll all be better off once the Bastion is complete. Fixed that thing right up, didn't we? Made these goings-on a little livelier. Suppose it's true a little song can put things in perspective. The monument's getting better. Zolf sure did a number on it, though. The memorial may be finished, but our part is far from over. The culture, a still life of old unwanted keepsakes, Peter goes with a hammer better than a box of nails. Just a couple shards left. The quarry's gotta have one, right? The secret to how we built Caelondia so tall and proud lies in Burstone Quarry. Imagine everything you need to build a city like Caelondia. It takes hard work and planning, and it also takes Burstone Quarry. The Ura tunnels beneath the quarry must have softened the blow from the Calamity. We bought the whole place from the Ura on the cheap. Same goes for its natives, rattletails. The quarry ain't exactly up to safety standards no more. Rattletails ain't the worst of it either, but more about that in a little bit. The quarry came with a lifetime supply of windbags. Windbags smaller than the naked eye can see are nesting in those rocks. Not only are these rocks a source of life, we found that the oldest ones remember things. There was even more to it than that. Quarry's secrets ain't exactly obvious. They're recording everything, all the time, taking it all in. wonder all those beasts were drawn to the quarry. The Rucks were calling them. Rattletails filled the place with holes. Keeping the quarry free from pests turned out to be a problem. Rattletails kept tunneling in to snack on windbags. Without those windbags, the quarry might not have its special qualities. Even stink eyes started taking root in here. Why would the Ura sell off such a fascinating place? The Ura always were a superstitious lot. Might be the gods told him the quarry's bad news. In any case, it's fair to say the quarry was a godsend. Those rocks, all polished to a mirror sheen. Largest ones, you know as cores. A single core can keep the lights on in an entire city district. The smaller ones, we call them shards. The shards got a fraction of a core's power. Enough to fuel a voyage to the motherland. Well, now the quarry's all dried up. These rocks are much too young to be of use. Remember how I said rattletails ain't the worst thing in the quarry? That honor goes to a beast we took to Colin, Sir Lunky. Massive things stomped many of our boys. We just couldn't get rid of him. thing harder than the rocks in burst, don't worry. Sir Lucky's head. Stubborn old monkey to leave the quarry alone. Then the kid hears a voice calling from down the hall. "Are you all right?" it says. It's him. "I've come to warn you," he says. "The Bastion is under siege. Let it fall. You should not go back." Kid hears him, but he ain't about to be deterred. "If that's the way it is," he says, "then I won't stop you." Because my countrymen will. Say what you will about Zulf, but he's a man of his word. His countrymen don't much care for pleasantries, though. Too bad for that. Zulf showed him the way here, and here they came to take revenge. They got inside the Bastion and shut the door. Kid's gotta go in through the back. I should have told him sooner about all this. To make matters worse, seems the Ura took the girl. Unfortunately, they broke in and they started digging their hole. Something wrong sprung out of those holes, and it's eating away this place. We tried to stop him, but we needed help. Somehow, some way, he sends those Ura packing. Problem is, it didn't matter. Zulf's plan worked. We find each other as the dust settles. Then I tell him why the Ura came. To get us back for the Calamity. It was Caelondia's master plan to wipe the Ura out. But part of that plan backfired, didn't it? If only Zulf knew the whole story. What were we to think? They must have got her, taken her back to her rightful home. The shards can put this disease in remission, but there's only one cure. We need to finish what we started. The Mercy. The windbags ain't the only beast that drew a bad lot. The Trappers, daring bunch of fools. They'll be missed. The Conscience. We haven't lost everything, long as we have that. I've asked a lot of the kid, but this is something he's done on his own. Seems the gods recommended this place to all their friends. Now all we need is one last shard. The Sanctuary. If we can build, we can rebuild. Fallen malt is filled with crunchy minerals that'll keep you safe out on them rocks. He wolfs down too much too fast, and it all goes to his head. I've said a lot about the kid, but he ain't the only one wrapped up in all this. What's he thinking? Let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the tasseled terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Caelondia. Folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminals. Ura refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. The mama passed away from birthing complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. father was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's manses. His daughter barely saw him. Father told her nothing of her heritage. He told her nothing of the Mansers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts. Learn more through music than history books. Gain a knack for strings and songs. She tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an trader, selling out the city. Young man stood up for her, or so he led her to believe. He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him.
you build a wall. I dig my hole, you build a wall.
The young man convinced her to take him to a family den to meet her father. Spoke of how he wanted to meet a man from the terminals.
Gon' build that city on a hill.
Now, where were we? The young man greeted her father in the Ura's native language. Her father flew into a fit of rage and threw them out.
I dig my hole, you build a wall. One day that wall is gonna fall. Gonna build that city on a hill.
The young man never told her that the Ura's native language is not to be used by foreigners. To do so is a terrible insult.
Someday those tears are gonna spill. So build that wall and build it strong, 'cause we
Lost my train of thought there. It was then that she decided to escape. The two of them could flee the city together and go to the Tassel terminals.
dig my hole, you build a wall. I dig my hole, you build a wall. One day that wall is gonna fall.
They would hide inside a garbage bin until it got ingested by a scumbag, then let him slosh on out of the city for disposal.
Gonna build that city on a hill. Someday those tears are gonna spill. So build that wall and build it strong, 'cause we'll be there before too long. Gonna build that wall up to the sky.
But the authorities were already there when that scumbag sidled up to the city walls. man had sent the authorities a tip. Told him her father was using her to sell secrets to the Tassel terminals. She and her father were arrested for treason, but her father got a deal. Returned to work for the Mansers, and she'd go free. Before they parted ways for the last time, her father whispered a desperate plea. Hurry home to the den and lock yourself in. She was told, and deep down underground inside that den, she found a journal written in her father's hand. Next day, the door to the den turned to ash. The girl came up for air, and she saw the Calamity all around her. When the kid wakes up, his world's still in pieces, just the way he left it. He put some finishing touches on the business end of that thing. Arrows like that can practically find their own way. Gotta make sure the pointy end's fastened on real tight. To master the musket, you gotta get rid of the recoil. Now we're looking at some serious firepower. City. Its riches nothing but fragments now. The Ura swooped down from the east. At least now we know the way. The Bastion, Caelondia's safe haven, once the highest point in the city. Too bad it wasn't finished before the Calamity struck. Live wine so rich, they say it's brought men back from the brink for one last taste. Urzendra Gate used to lead down to the terminals. Now it leads up to the stars. One last shard. It's all we need to put this mess behind us. And mother, what a mess it is. A mess like that could have only been made by hand. Zolf said the Calamity failed, and he's right. The Ura stand as living proof of that. At the heart of the Calamity was a simple idea. We never wanted to go to war again. Wanted to rule it out. folks against that problem. Scientists, soldiers, spies, even me. We sought solutions far beyond the city. We traveled near as far as the kids go right now. Most of our efforts didn't bear fruit. Then there was a breakthrough, but it didn't come from one of our people. It came from an a brilliant young scientist named Ven. Ven worked for the Mancers, the sharpest knives in the city's drawer. With his help, the Mancers devised a way to seal the Ura tunnel shut in a flash. Just like that, every last Ura living in the Tassel terminals will be gone. This discovery was never to be used, they said, except as a last resort. But Ven didn't like being manipulated. He had plans of his own. He sabotaged the Mancer's little science project set it to blow up in their faces. Imagine how Van must have felt when they finally made him pull that trigger.
Let us in!
Remember, the Bastion can fix everything. We just need that shard. We're lucky to be alive. Hey. Too bad the Ura ain't exactly been willing to collaborate on that front. For now, Kid had little choice but to pick up where the Calamity left off. First things first, though. There's someone we figured needed rescuing. Zia. The Ura fell back, no doubt planning the next move, but we knew ours already. It wasn't fixed, it was unbroken. We could always see the stars, we just never could reach them, no matter how high we built. That ought to make those fangs sink in nice and deep. Now he can shoot that fang repeater all day long. The inspiration. A forge can fashion anything. There's something we had to do before going after that last shard. Zoltan's Hollow is the Ura's border blockade. At least it used to be. Well, now it's personal, ain't it? is personal for him, and it's personal for me. The Hura's border blockade ain't much to speak of, but it's got a nice view. He finds his moment to strike. He gets his hands on the care package I sent him. Found a way to keep the Calamity from spreading through Sultan's Hollow. Kid has to put a damper on their plans. They got their own security and everything. Pretty fancy. Still, they ain't used to having visitors around. They've got these conductors that are all what's keeping the place together. You break enough of those things and the Calamity rocks slink back into the ground. Those rocks are like tumors, the same kind we are planted in the Bastion. Well, the Ura must be in a panic right about now. They even sick their little rattletail pets on the kid. Those rodents are just a bump in the road. here to the terminals must know he's in town. They're easy targets. Most of the Earth's conductors are squared away in the middle of the hollow. Those Calamity rocks must be eating that place apart from the inside. Keep hanging on to that barricade. After all, their homeland's not much farther. Some of them are downright bewildered by what's happening. Maybe they know they've lost this. Lost to a kid. They underestimated us. Had us pegged all wrong. Yes, our people caused the Calamity, that here we are trying to fix it. Really think we just turn around and walk away? Shame the opportunity for civilized discourse is over. It's not the time to get reckless. Suppose old Zolf should have got to know us better. Maybe I should have trusted him. Told him everything I knew. They have every reason to be angry. Beyond angry. But when this is all over, it'll all be water under the bridge. As the hour grows desperate, the Ura bring out their big guns. Too bad for them, our guns are bigger still. There's nothing standing in his way no more. He sees the Tazzle terminals loom large on the horizon. All those dreams, snuffed out in the Calamity, will bring him back. Way out there on the edge of the world, that's where he finally finds you. But it ain't like Prosper Bluff this time. Ain't nothing for this gal to sing about now. Zia, you weren't kidnapped. No, ma'am. You just had to see what happened to the Ura, to your own people. Sure, the world's all gone to pieces farther than the eye can see. but leave it to this gal to point out the amazing view. Sure you didn't drop that twangy thing on purpose? Just to see if he'd go after you? They lost everything, didn't they? But they just keep on fighting like that's gonna bring it all back. I don't need to see what happened to the Ura. I'm trying to undo it, remember? The country, she's all to pieces now, but still looking good. Sometimes I want to ask him why do any of this, but truth is, I don't want to know. Once the kid gets that last shard from Zolf, it'll all be over. The Tazzle terminals, all that's left of the Ura civilization, and the last stop on his little journey.